Hello friends and welcome. I'm Sara Lihz and I have a super cute Halloween project for you today. I'm using the Halloween balloons on the left and the mummy mug set on the right. And we are going to cut all of those out of some specialty cardstock. I wanted to make this really extra special. So I'm starting with this cupcake. This is from the mummy mug. It's a mummy cupcake. And on that back layer, you can see where the eyes go, but actually we're going to put those on the frosting layer, that black layer. They kind of nestle in there right in between these little wrappings that are on it. And I just think it's so, so cute. I love the design, and that on that purple layer, I could see where they went because there's a lot of pieces in this die set and I can't always tell what goes with what right off the bat. So this made it extra easy. The wrappings on this, I'm using, it's like a white iridescent glitter cardstock, but not really glitter, like shreds of some kind of cellophane. It's really cool. So it kind of looks like mummy wrappings. And then this is an iridescent glossy white cardstock I'm using for my ghost, and I will add on the eyes and the mouth real quick. And then for my jack-o'-lantern balloon, I have cut out all of the pieces for the face, like the jack-o'-lantern's lit up on the inside. So I cut it out of yellow. And then I'm coming in with 2 shades of alcohol marker here just to add a little bit of contrast and depth to the inside of our balloon. So when I go to glue these pieces down, there are etched details on the balloon, but I couldn't see them, partly because it's glitter cardstock and partly because my lights are so bright when I'm filming, but they're there, right? And I should have just laid the pieces out to make sure I knew where they went. I'm gonna pull the eyes back off because they were not in the right place, but then the dot of glue for the nose is fine. So we will start there and add our nose, and then I will get smart and I will bring out my tweezers and I can kind of put the glue on the pieces and lay them out where they go. I should have done that to begin with. I don't know what I was thinking. I apologize that it's kind of hard to see the contrast between these glowing pieces inside the jack-o'-lantern on that glitter cardstock, but in person, it does not blend in. Like they're very different. And actually, I really like how this turned out. So I will pick that up eventually and sort of give you a close-up look at that. I just thought that was a lot of fun. Once I get those pieces glued together, I was like, do I need a third balloon? I was thinking originally the cupcake would be my third balloon. So there's still this vampire bat balloon. I was like, what if I put that behind my jack-o'-lantern? The balloon part is exactly the same size. It's so cute. I was like, one of my kids would do that. They would dress up as part jack-o'-lantern, part vampire bat for Halloween. I have a gray panel of cardstock that I have hot foiled a spiderweb pattern onto the background. And I'm going to use some Distress Oxide inks in different shades of purple to create kind of a cloudy sky. So here are my balloons floating in my slightly spooky but kind of cute, right, not scary, Halloween cloudy sky. I keep telling myself it's not scary. This particular stencil, I like 3 of the sides a lot and the 4th one I don't. So I just rotate among those 3 sides, and I'm going to try to do 3 rows of clouds in each purple shade. So this first one is Villainous Potion, and I'm using a domed foam. I don't have blending brushes for my oxides. It's on my wish list. That might have made this a little bit easier, but anyway, I'm happy with how it turned out. This next one is Dusty Concord, and I cleaned off my stencil completely. I just used some isopropyl alcohol. I sprayed that on there and wiped it off. And then I flipped the stencil over. That way I get 3 more sort of variations in the way my clouds are formed. And then some of these, I'm not going to go all the way across. I'm just going to try to meet up to the middle of another cloud. I will take, you can see it here, one of those like cloud puffs and line it up with one that's already on there and then continue on. So this last one is Seedless Preserves. So we had Villainous Potion, Dusty Concord, and now we're on Seedless Preserves. And that first row, I was like, that is very pink. That is very, very pink. But actually, in the end, I like the depth and dimension we get from pushing outside of that very narrow color family, right? The first 2, I feel like, are sort of the same hue. One is a lighter version of the other. And this is just bringing in something else all together. But yeah, I really like that about it in the end. I am slipping and sliding around because I didn't want to put my fingers in the ink. I should have just grabbed like some Post-it tape. But ultimately I give up. I put my fingers in the ink and it works out beautifully. I'm going to come in with one final like partial row of clouds, and then I'll come up from the bottom and add just a little light-handed layer so it doesn't look like all of a sudden things disappeared, things quit. And that will finish off our panel, right? Like, I am so excited about that. I'm going to be making a bunch more Halloween backgrounds using that technique. Okay, so here's our little close-up, and you can see the eyes and the inside pieces really do have quite a bit of contrast and kind of look like they're glowing in that jack-o'-lantern vampire bat balloon. He just kills me. So I'm going to add my panel to an A2 card base. So it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 with my wet glue, and I'm just going to wiggle it around. And then I'm going to start adding all of my pieces onto my card. This Spooktacular might be my favorite die from the entire card. Something about the font. If you watch my channel at all, you know I make a lot of printables with sentiments and things, and I love playing around with different fonts. And this one is magical. And then my whole sort of vision for this card will change because of this sentiment. So I cut out the Spooktacular 2 extra times from some just heavyweight black cardstock. And when I go to add my glue, I really focus on just kind of the big parts and anything that sticks out. If I feel like the glue got heavy somewhere, I will tap that off on the back of my hand because I don't want any glue to end up on this glitter cardstock, right? I don't want to dull that glitter. It is magnificent. And then I'll just wiggle it around until everything lines up right, and I'll use my pokey tool to remove any glue that oozed out from between my letters. So that's going to go kind of towards the bottom. And again, I was thinking that there would be 3 balloons and that my cupcake would be a balloon, but ultimately she nestles so beautifully into that Spooktacular between the T and the L. And that's the kind of thing that like I nerd out about, like it was meant to be. I like to do this when I'm putting sentiments together and fonts together. And so to have that cupcake fit there so beautifully, I was like, well, she's not a balloon anymore. Now she's going to be this little girl cupcake holding these balloons. There is a little bow die in one of these sets, and I should have added that, right? I think it's in the mummy mugs. I should have added that onto her as well. I think that would have been really, really cute. So I have used a little bit of tape to place the string on my jack-o'-lantern balloon just so I can pick the whole thing up at the same time. But the edge of the ghost balloon is too small. So I am going to use some wet glue, and I'll just hang on to that for a little bit to make sure that that is secured together. And then I can move that as one piece as well. And I'll kind of work to get everything laid out on my card. And then I'll start by gluing that Spooktacular sentiment down, right? Like, look how cute that is. It's so cute. Okay, I'm adding glue. I've got my balloon and my cupcake on there, and I will just kind of lay this right back down, right? The cupcake lets me know where that Spooktacular goes, and that was really, really helpful. Then I will start by adding my balloons for my, I want to call them critters, but they're not, are they critters? Maybe we'll call them critters. I'm adding glue all over the back and onto that balloon string, and I will tap that off on the back of my hand. And then I'm going to focus on the balloon part first. I'm eyeballing the string for placement, but there's a little bit of wiggle room, right? And then I'll just remove the cupcake to tap that down on the card. But I wanted to make sure that the strings were going to look natural, look right as they go behind that cupcake. Again, I'm tapping off the glue from the string. That oxide ink is water reactive, and so I don't want the glue, even though it dries clear, I don't want it to touch that ink and then the ink fades and lightens like it does when you sprinkle it with water because my glue seeped out. To add my cupcake, I'm just using some really thin foam squares, and then I will add glue to the back of my squares. Anytime I'm adding foam, I also use glue. I just don't trust myself not to put it down and then change my mind. So I'll wiggle it into place, and there it is. That will finish off our card. I think it's so cute, and I want to show you all of the sparkle and shine on these different cardstocks. I love it. I hope you enjoyed this card. If you do, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the Pixie Dust channel. We would love to have you, and I will see you next time.